Hey guys, Dr. Ducey here, MTFUcoach.com. How would you like it if I told you you can get rid of that terrible leg pain you've been suffering forever and right away? Well, in some cases you can. In other cases, unfortunately, you can't. But before we go into that, I want to go over a little tiny anatomy lesson. Denise is going to get really close to this book right here. We're talking about the lower back. We're talking about a muscle called the piriformis, okay? It's right there. I'm going to show you the spine in a second and show you exactly where it is, but you can see it crosses the joint right here, okay? I'm going to pick the spine. I'm going to show you what's going on here. This is the, a model of the spine and the pelvis. And when we look at this, we have the discs and the vertebrae, okay? We have the spinal nerves that come out. This is a representation of a herniated disc. Now, when we're talking about discs, you can have bulges, you can have herniations. That's a whole different deal. That's above the area of problematicity that we're talking about today, because the area I just showed you in the book, crossing this joint right here, piriformis crosses right here, it goes over something called the sciatic nerve. Now, the sciatic nerve, you see these nerves right here, the spinal nerves, they all come out, and on either side, they all meet and feed into the sciatic nerve. Now, if you had a problem up here, like a herniated disc, pressing on a nerve, you'd have problems because that nerve is being impeded. Down here, when we're talking about the piriformis, when this gets tight, we had enough of that. If you look at a healthy muscle grabs something and then it releases it. You got a contraction and you got a release, and hopefully it does that all day without a problem. If we're talking about the piriformis muscle, because of some reason, maybe poor exercise technique, injury, malposition on the job, you sit in the car a lot, you sleep wrong, whatever it might be, that piriformis muscle is locked in like this. And what happens is you're impeding, it's like taking a garden hose and kinking it or stepping on it, the water stops coming out. Think of that in terms of neural flow. When the piriformis gets really tight, it impedes that nerve, which goes down the leg, and then that manifests as either knife-like pain, jabbing, burning. It's been described many different ways, sometimes numbness, sometimes you feel like your leg isn't there. That's called a loss in proprioception. But listen, it can be bad enough where it rules your life. And oftentimes in my practice in particular, from years ago, I had over 10,000 unique patients. About half of them, above the age of 40 and 50, men and women, were suffering from piriformis syndrome, and a lot of times they thought it was a disc, or they thought it was a herniation or a bulge or something else. And the kicker is on that, ordinarily when it is a herniated disc or a bulge disc, the solution to that is often much more involved. In fact, for something like that, to get a diagnosis, you want to see either a chiropractor, medical doctor, or an orthopedist for any of these problems. But if it is muscular in nature, and we're talking about the muscle locked like this, the piriformis muscle in this case, and impeding that nerve, there is a way to correct that, and you have to have the diagnosis. And as I was intimating, people sometimes think that they're ruined only because they don't have a good diagnosis. They oftentimes think it's much worse than it is. I'm going to show you, these days people take either a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, which is much harder, or you've got those foam rollers now. Now listen, everything has its use, but there are no absolutes. A lot of times these aren't the solutions. In fact, with this situation, these are going to come right over here. I'm going to show you what people will sometimes do. And I do actually have a touch of piriformis syndrome, so I'm not going to show you exactly, but people will take this, sit on it, and try to find that groove or that notch. They'll move around, and because they want to put pressure on the muscle and try to relax it and take those interlocked fibers and kind of splay them out. And they'll do that temporarily, like, wait a minute, oh, they hit it, and they get that fire going down their legs, so like, I got it. Yeah, you got it, but you're making it worse because that's too focal, too exacting of a pressure on that area. Let's say it's not general enough. And think about this for a second. Even though we have a lot of people now, particularly women, developing these big Kardashian butts, whether that's good or not, I don't know. Some of them are actually developing muscle. Some are getting implants. Some are putting oil in their butts. That notwithstanding, you get people over the ages of 40 and 50, you're getting that sarcopenia that we've talked about anyhow. So A lot of times you don't have enough gluteal muscle there to protect the area. So again, when you're putting this underneath there, or even a foam roller, it's almost flush against that tight muscle, and you're going to get right to that sciatic nerve, and you're going to make it worse. So this is good for some areas of the body. In this case, it's not. I'm going to show you a stretch, a piriformis stretch that is really, truly fantastic if done correctly. To stretch this muscle out and correct your problem, because really it comes down to a tight muscle causing all these terrible problems. So you're going to position your body like so, and again, now what you want to do is you want to stretch that muscle. Now to get to the muscle, what do people think? They want to put their head down, you know, and they're flexing their torso, but you're not really getting flexion down here, which is what you need. I don't know if you got me in the right angle. That's fine, you can stay there. But really what you want to do is you want to put your hand out like so, and follow with your chest. And when you do that, you'll notice I'm getting more flexion in my hip area, and I can actually feel that in the piriformis area, because again, I do have a little bit of piriformis syndrome, and I do these stretches, and I can feel the relief. You're going to pull back, you're going to hold that 30 to 60 seconds, and then you're going to go and you're going to do it again, and you're going to work on you're leading with your chest, not your head, and you're going to work at getting a little further each time, and ultimately you want to approximate your chest down to here. A lot of you won't be able to do that right away. You do this several times a day. Now, I like to have people do this on their days that they work out. Some people work out 2 days, 3 days, some people 6 days. I like you to do this on the days you work out, but even if it's only 2 or 3 days, I'd like even you to do this 5 to 6 days a week. Really, really work on it. You've got to go pretty easy with this though. You want to go slow in gradients. Stretch it out slowly, stretch it and come back, only because we have nerve involvement here. It's not like stretching a pec or stretching out your thigh or even a bicep or anything like that, because right here we've got not only the muscle that we're stretching, but it's got nerve involvement. So if you go too hard, too quick, you send that muscle to spasm, and it's gonna lock down on the nerve even more. They're gonna get mad at that damn Dr. Dusa, but Dr. Dusa didn't tell you to do that. He told you to go nice and easy and slow. But in summation, listen, if that is your problem, if that is the causation of this problem that has really rocked your world and made it hard to work out, and hard to sit, and hard to sleep, and hard to have sex, and hard to do all these things that you want to do, well, if it's that problem right there and you could just correct that tight muscle, you will be free. And that's all I have to say about that. Listen, I'd like to know what you'd like to see. I'm making videos every day now. In fact, today is my first day of my new 12-week program as far as me peaking, getting into my best shape ever. And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing a little bit every day. So if you follow me, maybe you can get a little of that and get in shape along with me, or draw at least some details here and there, or cherry pick. You're welcome to do that, of course. But if you think I deserve it, give me a thumbs up. Your thoughts, comments, considerations, and statements, put down below. They are my oxygen. Please help me breathe. You have a great night. Thank you.